In this week's Wellness Wednesday, we talk not just about the physical, physiological issues that are associated with pelvic health, but also the mind, body, and spirit holistic connection. I hope you'll enjoy. And as always, tune in to our live Wellness Wednesdays on Instagram and Facebook. We are live on Instagram. Hello, my friends. And we're live on Facebook. Yay! So today, whether you're watching the replay or you're watching the live, we are talking about holistic pelvic health. And this topic is something, hi guys, I see we are joining on Instagram. Hi Dana. Yay! I love Wellness Wednesday. Real quick, let me back up because this will be recorded and put on YouTube one day. So I'll just back up and say I'm Bree. And this is Wellness Wednesday. We're going to be doing this, we've been doing this every Wednesday now for a few weeks. I am going to miss next Wednesday and maybe even the week after that because my husband and son are going to be leaving pretty soon for a little vacation, and I want to spend like every moment with them that I can. But in general, Wednesdays at this time, we live stream and we chat. So this is really casual and really free-flowing. I want to talk about holistic pelvic health today, and it will be eventually on YouTube as a recording. But if you have any comments or any stories of your own, if you're watching it live on Instagram or Facebook, then just type in the comment area kind of what you'd like to share about maybe your own personal stories, maybe your own pelvic health issues, or just anything you'd like to share related to this topic today, because I really think that okay, let me just say, let me just stop for a moment and pause and be like, OMG, holistic pelvic health is the only way to go, because truly this part of our body, this pelvic part of our body, not only is it connected to everything else. I mean, seriously, you guys, jaw tension, shoulder tension, pelvic tension, it's all related. So not only do we physiologically need to be looking at all different parts of the body, so from a holistic perspective, the physical body, the whole physical body, but we also need to be looking at the mental and emotional component as well. And I'm learning more and more that this mental and emotional component is really just as big of an issue as the physical connection of how physiologically the whole body is connected like a chain. I mean, that's huge too. It's huge thinking that, oh my gosh, my jaw issues or my the stress from work that makes my shoulders creep up to here could be impacting my pelvic floor, or vice versa. The pelvic floor could be impacting this stuff up here, or even our feet. So that holistic component is huge, but the mental and spiritual connection is just big. So that's what we're talking about today, and I'm just so glad that you all are here. So again, if you have anything that you want to share in the comments about, stories you may have or issues you may be dealing with, then I will kind of pop into the comments here and there. I have some scrawled out notes. This is how I do notes for I promised myself, I said, today, Bree, you're going to sit down and you're going to organize these notes so that you have something really solid to share with everyone. But you know what? I didn't have time. So I am just going to take a brief look at my notes and get some inspiration for where I wanted to start. And I think the basic place I wanted to start was that one of the main issues that people tend to come to me for, and my, just general strokes of information that I spread online about pelvic health, because I do want to tell you that I am a doctor of physical therapy, but I'm not able to provide anybody medical advice. You really have to see a women's health physical therapist or a pelvic floor physical therapist in person to get answers specific to your needs. You also have to tune into your body because you are really your own best doctor, to be honest with you. But I am here to provide broad strokes of information and some general advice that I do hope is helpful. So let me just sort of give that disclaimer, because it really is important to, if you can, see somebody one-on-one to really find out what your needs are. But that being said, one of the main things that people tend to come to FemFusion for is issues with pelvic organ prolapse or urinary issues like incontinence, a little bit of leaking, when you're jumping on the trampoline, or when you're coughing or sneezing, laughing, that kind of thing. Or another issue could be pelvic tension and pain. And sometimes all of these can be happening at the same time. You could have pelvic tension, but also those tense muscles might not be strong or coordinated, so that you then maybe have some heaviness, you have some falling in your pelvic organs, and you also have some bladder leakage. Like, you could have all of that going on at the same time. So that's usually the conditions that people are coming to FemFusion for, or, ultimately seeing a women's health physical therapist in person for. But there is a huge component of heaviness that can be felt, heaviness and pressure and discomfort associated with all these conditions. And so dealing with that is what I want to talk about today. So if you're with me, let's give a little heart, a little thumbs up, a little love. And I want to start with not just thinking about exercises. I want to talk about the feeling of stuckness and heaviness and pressure, that stuckness and stagnation that actually is at the root of a lot of this, okay? So yes, there are physical things that we can do to help with these issues. Yes, absolutely. I'm not saying that we can just in our mind say, oh, okay, I'm gonna, make the energy move in my body and my mind without doing anything. We need to physically do things, but there's also a component of energetic stagnation that can lead to exacerbation of these conditions. So I actually have a fantastic interview about the emotional impact on prolapse and urgency and the connection there on my YouTube channel. It's with Dr. Sarah Smith. So please check that out if you haven't already. You'll like it a lot. But I want to specifically talk about literally stagnation today, and that feeling of stagnation in the body. Stagnation is the problem with emotional issues, and can also be a problem with prolapse. And so one of the reasons I've identified that stagnation can occur in the body with prolapse, and I want to really kind of focus on prolapse right now at this moment, and also pelvic pain and tension, is that when we have those conditions, a lot of the times we feel fear and scared to really move. So many people come to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do. I feel like I can't do my exercises that I used to like to do. I don't know what's going to make my condition worse. I feel like I literally just need to sit down and not move. And so that is going to cause a lot of stagnation in your body. You're just going to feel stuck. Not only does movement actually literally, move your muscles, but it actually moves the energy in your body. And this in turn moves your emotions. I mean, probably most of you have experienced being mentally just stuck or in a bad place, and then going out for a walk, and all of a sudden things are flowing again. That's because you're no longer stagnant. That movement in your body has actually moved your energy, not just moved your muscles, but moved your energy in your body. And so you're no longer stagnant, you're no longer stuck. But when we have prolapse, or we have some kind of pelvic condition that makes us scared to move, then that's going to give us this stuck, stagnant energy that's just going to put even more pressure, mental pressure and physiological pressure in our pelvic area. Also in our mental area, because we're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. This is so annoying. I'm so mad. I'm so angry, or I'm so scared. All of these things are emotionally draining and emotionally just filling our heads, and it can cause stuckness up here too. Now, we know, like I said earlier, that stuckness and pressure and tension up here can cause our jaws to tense up. It can cause our neck to tense up. And the shoulder girdle and the jaw, they're actually connected to the pelvic floor. It's crazy, but true. Through the fascia of the body and then just the connections in the body, these two girdles, the pelvic girdle and the shoulder girdle, are very connected. So if you're tense up here, you may be tense down here. If you're tense down here, you may be tense up here. I already mentioned that, but I just want to share it again in relation to the stress that you may be under and that stagnation. So 2 tips that I want to just kind of kick us off with today to help with this stagnation that can lead to more feelings of tension and pressure and heaviness are to, first of all, move the energy in your body with holistic alternative techniques such as essential oils. I'm going to give you some movements, some physical movements, and also technique of essential oils. So essential oils are one of my favorite tools for holistic healing. So they are, volatile aromatic compounds from plants. They're pure plant essences. You should be getting a pure therapeutic grade oil that has no other fillers, no other anything. It's just plant essence. And there are certain scents that can actually, the aroma can actually hit you it can travel into your nose and hit the olfactory bulb in your brain and cause physiological responses. It can cause stress to reduce, anxious feelings to reduce. It can actually trigger hormonal changes like lowering your cortisol and just maybe even helping you breathe deeper. And some essential oils can literally help move energy through the body. So there's 3 essential oils that I wanted to highlight today that can be really, really helpful for moving that stagnation that I've been talking about. They can really contribute to pelvic health issues. And so when that stagnation is there, we want to move it. So the oils that I recommend for this are lemon. Lemon is such an amazing, just zesty, happy essential oil. And there's nothing, like you can't really not be like, ooh, juicy, like zesty when you smell pure lemon essential oil. It's cold pressed from the rind of the lemon. So you don't get any like sourness of if you were to ingest it. With certain essential oils you actually can take internally, and lemon is one. When you get from a super high quality company like doTERRA, the company that I work with, you can put like a drop in a glass of water and stir it briskly and drink it down. That's okay. But mainly today I just want to talk about inhaling and smelling them. So lemon is an instant hit of just clarity, joy, zest of life, and just energy. It literally moves the energy. So it's internally cleansing and can really help get things going. So I highly recommend lemon. The other one that I recommend is melaleuca or tea tree oil. Same name. Tea tree oil is the common name, and melaleuca arnifica something is the Latin name for the plant. So melaleuca is what I call it, but tea tree oil is the same thing. That's a very cleansing oil like lemon, and it's really clearing and just kind of helps get the stagnation moving in your mind and body. So give it an inhale. You could even blend together lemon and melaleuca or tea tree oil in the diffuser. The third oil that you could add to this diffuser blend, for example, is cypress. So I've talked about cypress in other Wellness Wednesdays. This is the oil of flow. I love cypress. It smells really fresh and a little bit woodsy. It's a tree. And it is an oil that really helps me with mental flow. Like if I'm really feeling a little stuck at work when I'm trying to, write something up or whatever it may be, I will diffuse cypress. I love the way it just gets me. Again, it's sort of the magic of essential oils. I don't really know how it really gets me flowing, but it does. And this is amazing. It works also for the veins. If you have, if you need to help with circulation and the flow in your body internally, you can use cypress as like a body oil. I like to use it every day after my shower to help with, veins and circulation and all of that. I rub that right on. So I highly recommend cypress, lemon, and melaleuca or tea tree oil. Again, singly or in combination. It's wonderful if you smell them right out of the bottle or perhaps put them in a diffuser. Now, I also talked about, just now, I was talking about my cypress that I use for my body oil to help, just rub on my legs and get the circulation going. But another thing that can really move stagnation, and when we're thinking about holistic pelvic health, we're not just thinking about the exercise session you do with your physical therapist or with my videos on YouTube. We're not talking about just like a single exercise or a move or like a Kegel or something like that. No. We're talking about whole lifestyle, little things that may seem kind of inconsequential, like how's that going to help my pelvic floor? But we've already addressed how stagnation and this feeling of stagnation can really contribute to energetic stagnation and tension and heaviness, and that can contribute to pelvic health exacerbation. And so one thing that may seem like a little tiny thing, but it can help move the energy, is dry body brushing. So that's another one where you can get like a natural bristle brush, one of those little boar bristle brush or natural bristle of some sort, and you can just dry brush on your arms and your legs, starting distal, so away from your heart, and moving up toward your heart. So always moving toward the center of your body. This is great to do before you shower. So just once a day. And my little hack is I tend to get, because you're naked, so I tend to get cold, and I don't want to be like doing this for too long before I hop in the shower if it's cold. And so I actually have a little portable space heater that I bring into my bathroom, and I turn it on, and I only do this for it only takes 2 minutes or so, 2 to 3 minutes, but I'll just dry body brush my legs, and then, my arms, and then I usually kind of go over my belly a little bit, maybe, a little extra time on my butt, because this is a great way to, from an aesthetic standpoint, it may help with the appearance, reducing the appearance of cellulite. It can just help exfoliate dry skin, so it's good for you, on that level. But again, it's wonderful for just moving the energy. So you'll feel a tingling sensation throughout your body when you do this, even for just a couple of minutes. I love this technique. And again, with my space heater on in the bathroom, it's not cold, and I can do it for a couple minutes, turn the heater off, and then hop in the shower. So that is my little technique for dry brushing. And I do like those same essential oils that I mentioned, lemon, melaleuca or tea tree oil, and cypress. You could use all of those, drip them just a drop or two onto your bristles of your dry body brush, and you can absolutely use those before your shower. So give that a try. I usually use some different oils on my dry body brush, but these ones would be absolutely great if you're really trying to focus on moving that energy and just clearing things out. So highly, highly recommend that. Let's talk briefly about exercises, and then I want to read your comments because I have more to say. So this is just obviously it's my passion. So I want to share a couple of movements to help with that stagnation and moving the energy. So I want to just assure you that if you have pelvic pain or tension, if you have prolapse, if you have urinary leakage, if you have these issues, guys, you are gonna be okay. I just want to almost cry thinking about it. You're okay. You are okay. You can move. You can move your body. Okay? I hope you can feel this from me right now. You are not destined to life in an armchair. In fact, that's going to make things worse. And so please don't feel like you cannot move. Some people may need to, for prolapse, you may need to use a pessary, or you may need to, in some cases, surgical intervention is necessary, but in many cases it's not. And in many cases, it's just a matter of knowing your own personal limits and maybe breathing in a certain way. There's some breathing techniques that can help you, decrease the downward pressure on your pelvic floor. And there's some body mechanics things that you might not be aware of. Maybe if you're kind of hunchy when you do certain moves, if you're roundy in your back, then that can definitely put a lot of downward pressure. So maybe it's just a matter of changing up the way you do your moves, right? It's gonna be okay. You will find a way to move because you've got to move in order to move that energy. You've got to move. So, whether it's going on a walk, that is great. But if you only have a couple of 3 seconds or a minute or so, then I love these tricks, these moves. So the first one that I have written down is this is literally an energy medicine move that I learned from Donna Gates. You can look her up on YouTube. She's I don't know, she's been around for a long time in the world of energy medicine. So she likes to do this movement here. Oh, do you like my pants, by the way? They're kind of jazzy. Arms up, and you just go cross body. I don't know if you can hear me since I'm so far away, but you just go cross body, hand to opposite thigh. And you just do that, and you can go fast, you can go slow, but that cross-body motion actually is great for your brain. It's great for brain health, coordination, and it's great for activating the entire body and just getting things moving. It's easy, it's very safe. I truly can't think of anyone who this would be a problem for. Just breathe and just feel it in your body, and it's a great way to get the energy of stagnation moving again. Then the other one you can try, this is another Donna Gates move, is heaven and earth. So you reach up for the sky and down for the floor. And then you switch arms. And you breathe with this. So now our breathing, I have talked about breathing a lot. And gosh, even in our last Wellness Wednesday, I talked about breathing, and I talked about the blowout breath, breathing in and then exhaling and really shooting any negative energy out your fingertips. That in itself is another good move, but coupling the breath with these movements is really important for moving the stagnant energy and just great for your emotional health. I mean, pressure in everyday life literally can cause pressure on your pelvic floor. It can energetically lead to exacerbated prolapse. When we feel pressured in life, we feel excess pressure here because of all the things I've talked about, these connections of tension and holding patterns and maybe not breathing deeply and maybe pushing to pee because we're so pressured to get stuff done that we push to pee to get it all out really fast and so we can move on with life. That's feeling pressured. That pressure, that energetic and mental pressure leads to physiological things that we do that makes our problems worse. So that's why we're doing this breathing and this expansive breathing and these movements to help release that pressure and get things so that we're taking care of ourselves, taking a moment to take care of ourselves. Okay, so we've talked about the crossbody, we've talked about the heaven and earth, we've talked about hip circles. I don't think we've talked about that, but you guys know I love hip circles. Just do a couple of hip circles in each direction and you'll feel instantly just like, ooh, feel the spiraling, the kundalini rising. Like this is a good thing right here. So some hip circles. Another one that you can do is thumping. This is kind of a weird one, but it's a great one to get the energy moving. So you just literally use your fists and you can gently pound on your, right under your collarbones. So that's a really nice one to do. You can even thump on the top of your head. You can thump on your bottom. There's really no rules. You can absolutely do EFT tapping, but that's a whole nother topic and not something I want to get into today, but that's a great technique as well if you know it. So thumping or just tapping, that really helps just get you out of your head and kind of, again, give yourself a little moment of self-care and take away some of the pressures of everyday life and just treat yourself. So that's really going to help on many, many levels. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. Oh, the last one I had here was just windmills. Super basic, like old school gym class. The only thing with windmills is you do want to be careful if you do feel a lot of downward pressure on your pelvic floor, that you use that decompression breath and that proper breathing. So you really want to lift your pelvic floor, pulling your belly, and then exhale as you go down and go hand toward opposite foot. So exhaling and then inhaling and then exhaling and then inhaling. So legs are wide. I think on Instagram you can see that, but on Facebook you probably couldn't see that. My legs are wide, and then it's just like you're touching toward the opposite foot. But I do recommend a lift of the pelvic floor and a pulling in of the belly and an exhale as you come down. That just decompresses your abdominal area and reduces some of the pressure on your pelvic floor. So give that a try and then shake everything out. Make sure when you're done that you've released and relaxed. And there's your little movement break to move that energy, move that stagnation. Heck, if you're diffusing your lemon, cypress, and tea tree oil at the same time, it's twice as good. So that right there is kind of a start to what I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to pop in on the comments. I think some things have come up. So I'm just going to pop through and see what we have. So I'm looking on Facebook right now and have some really nice comments here. I'm just going to kind of zoom through. So good to see you guys. Megan, Rena, Rachel, Paul, Bev, Aya, April. Oh, great to see you guys. Okay, so April says, I just started your lift program. I felt so much better after your first video. Going to do video number 2 today and continue. Quick question, is it normal to have pain and a bit of bleeding after? I noticed this morning. Will this get better as I continue and am consistent with the videos? I want to avoid medical intervention and use a more holistic route with my pelvic floor issues. So I would say no, bleeding is not pain and bleeding is not normal after these videos. So I don't want to scare you, but I would say I don't know why that would have occurred. But I would say definitely if it's not associated with your menstrual cycle, then you definitely need to stop, and you probably need to, definitely stop, maybe return to week 1, maybe talk to a doctor if you're noticing bleeding that's unexpected. That's never normal, and there's nothing that I can think of that would have caused that in week 2, but at the same time, I think that it's just still really important to listen to your body. So definitely stop. Go back to week 1 and fully read the emails. Hopefully everyone who's doing Lift receives the emails that go along with the videos. If you don't know what I'm talking about, message me and I can hook you up with the information you need. But, read the emails. Everything is meant to kind of go together. And again, you need to speak to a doctor if you have specific medical questions. So, all right, so there's that. I'm going to go on over to Instagram, and it's awesome to see you guys here. I'm really sorry if I miss any. I think we have here. So Blueberries and Jellyfish says, thank you for your videos on hypertonic pelvic floor. So useful. You are welcome. I have a whole playlist called Pelvic Pain / Tension. If you go to bit.ly, bit.ly /F, fem with a capital F, playlists with an S on the end, and it's a capital P. Sorry it's so complicated, but fem playlists with a capital F and a capital P. All of my playlists show up there really easily, and one of them is called Pelvic Pain / Tension, and I think it's really helpful for a lot of people. So, yeah. Okay, just kind of scrolling through. Thank you guys so much for your comments as you've been going. I'm reading them all, but Dana says, is it possible that the windmill bending makes incontinence worse? I have no incontinence overall, but sometimes when I bend over, I can feel the pressure as if the urethra and bladder opens. Yeah, so that's a great question, and that's why I recommend that decompression breath. But if you don't have the hamstring flexibility to get all the way down, this is what's going to happen is your body's going to round and be hunchy without you thinking about it. You're not going to be like, oh, I want to be hunchy. Nobody wants to be hunchy, but you're going to accidentally be that way. So I recommend bending your knees a little bit if you have tight hamstrings, lifting your pelvic floor, pulling in your low abs on an exhale. It goes together. It's what I call the decompression breath. And if you're watching right now, you should try it, where you lift your pelvic floor, pull in your low abs, exhale and fold forward. So it's a and if you do that with your windmills and have your knees a little bit softly bent, that should really help that feeling of downward pressure. So you're keeping your back straight. It's not being hunchy, because when you're hunchy, there's like a downward sensation, a downward pressure on your pelvic organs. So your back is straight and your muscles are supporting your back. It's very healthy for your back to do it this way. And the pressure is decreasing. You're balancing the pressure. You're managing the pressure in your pelvic area because of that breathing pattern. So I hope that helps. And I hope it makes you feel more supported and more engaged and not like you're pushing anything down or that anything is opening up. So just keep your knees slightly bent, especially if you have tight hamstrings at all. Keep your back straight, no hunching. We want to be straight back. And then that little engaged abs, lifted pelvic floor, and the exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale. And you can take it really slow. You don't have to go fast. So just kind of work with your body and see what works for you. And Dana says that helps. So good. Yay. And Adrienne says that I love your work so much. You're a lifesaver. Wow. Thank you. It's really nice to hear. Thank you. Okay. So let me just see. I want to, one more movement thing. Now here's another thing. Again, when we feel really limited because we have prolapse or we have pelvic health issues, when we feel really limited in the movement we are able to do, again, we're going to feel stuck. And so running is one thing that a lot of people who, well, I don't know about a lot, but me, one of the reasons I developed my mild prolapse after I gave birth to my son, granted, a lot of my prolapse naturally healed on its own because I was in the natural postpartum recovery period anyway. So that was great, but also my exercises and my lifestyle stuff really helped as well. So I developed mild prolapse after I gave birth to my son almost 12 years ago. But that was because I decided to go running 3 weeks postpartum. So I gave birth, and 3 weeks later I decided to go for a run, and pop, in my body, I heard/felt a descent of my bladder. And so it was mild, but it was there. And so I couldn't, run. And I really don't run much anymore anyway, just because. But running had been my life before. Like, that's really what I did. I loved running. And I know that a lot of people with prolapse were runners or want to get back into running, which is possible, by the way. Subject for another talk, but it is possible, depending on the person, but it is possible. But if you are a runner, or you were a runner, or you identified that way, and you're feeling stuck because you can't run anymore, that stagnation is definitely going to be in your body. And so one way you can kind of ease a little bit, get that running fix a little bit, is you can actually try some of my cardio videos at that same bit.ly link that I shared earlier, bit.ly/fem playlists. I have a whole cardio playlist that's kind of fun, and some of the exercises really will get your heart rate up, and they're not high impact. So that's one way you can start. Even if you can't go for a run, you could try some of my cardio playlists that are lower impact. Or if you want to get out and go for a run, try it. It might not work for you, so just try like 10 seconds and just see how it feels in your body. But you can try running actually uphill. So first of all, that's going to really get you breathing, and it's really going to get your heart rate feeling it, and it's going to get things moving for sure. We're talking about that stagnation and that energy. Things will move. But running uphill, you tend to run a little bit lighter on your feet than flat surface where it's maybe a little bit tending toward more pounding. And so if you're running on a gentle incline or uphill, that may actually be helpful and maybe an easier way to start, even though it sounds crazy, like, well, that's so hard, but it may actually be better as far as impact for those of you who just need to get unstuck by that physical output of running. So it's worth a try. Again, like 10 seconds we're talking about, and then stop, evaluate, assess your body, because you are your own guru. You're the only one who knows how you're going to respond. And then if it's okay, maybe do a little bit more. So that's just a thought there. So I'd love to know, I mean, those of you who are still watching, if you guys have any, I'm going to say here, Dana says, I need to say to everyone that they should follow the pelvic lift series and also the pelvic relaxation videos. They are great and helped me enormously. And Moon Sprout Mama says, amen, Dana. That's awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I take no credit for it. They're just things I've learned over the years, and I just put it out there on YouTube. But it's just a matter of knowing that so many of us, even with prolapse, who could benefit from the pelvic organ support series, my lift series, we also have concurrent pelvic floor tension. So it's not just that, oh, my muscles are like weak and like gaping open. That's not it. I mean, in some people, the muscles really are very, very, very weak and very sort of flaccid almost, like they're just not doing much. But in other cases, they're tense, but they're not strong. Because when muscles are tense, they're still weak if they can't support you and they can't be responsive. We want our pelvic floor muscles to be like little trampolines that can be like, woo, they can respond to everything they need to respond to. They can quickly activate at the right time, like when you really have to pee and you need to hold it in because you're laughing or whatever. We need them to be responsive and able to relax. That's going to actually have them be the way that they're the healthiest, and they can work the best, and they're the most supportive. So really important to remember that. But that's why combining some of my pelvic pain and tension kind of stretching routines with more strengthening things, if that's appropriate for you, can be very, very helpful. And Dana says we should avoid pulling in our belly when running. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be constantly tense during your run, or really, I really like to advise people, if you're doing isolated core strengthening, like if you're doing an abs workout, you're going to want to be pretty engaged through the ab exercise that you're doing, and then you can relax and let go when you're at a resting point. But I mean, if you're going on an hour run, let's say, for someone who's like training for a marathon, you certainly don't want to be lifting and pulling in and, holding everything, clenching for an hour. That's just too much on your body. So yeah, we're always going for responsive and supple and flexible and strong whenever we're talking about the core. So going back to the kind of holistic perspective, I want to just kind of read through here and and basically I want to share one story that I have related to something that I feel when I am under more stress. So this is something that you guys might relate to as well who are watching. When I feel like I'm under a lot of stress, life is just feeling exceptionally fast and things are feeling really urgent, I actually get more problems with urinary urgency. Lately, that's been more my problem. My prolapse is fine, it's gone, yay. But I do tend to get more problems with urgency, like feeling like, oh my God, I've got to get to the bathroom now or I'm gonna have a problem. And so that is really my signal. Wow, like something needs to change. I actually don't even think, oh, I better go do more Kegels, or my pelvic floor is getting weak or something like that. I don't think that. I actually take it as a cue that there's something going on in my life that's making things that's too much and that's actually spinning me out. And so I will take steps like I talked about in last week's Wellness Wednesday, where we talked about anxiety, because I do tend toward having some anxiety stuff. And so I'll take steps to calm down with my essential oils, with my breathing techniques, with my meditation. I just released a video of my 3x3x3 method. Even just 3 minutes of meditation can be very, very helpful just to calm the mind. So that is my signal when I feel that urgency. It's my signal that there's too much urgency in my life. I mean, it is incredible how urgency in life can lead to urgency in the bladder. Pressure in life and feeling of not enough support in your life can correlate with prolapse. Too much pressure, not enough support. That's what prolapse is. And when you're feeling that in your life, that's what happens. And again, urgency in your life, urgency in the bladder. Like, it's really quite amazing how they correlate. And so if you can just kind of look at these things as like, whoa, what are these physiological things telling me about my life right now? And then let's take a lifestyle approach to this and think about all the little ways that throughout my day I might be able to sneak in simple ways to address that. So for me, when I'm feeling that urgency problem and I'm realizing that correlates with too much urgency in my life, too much feeling like there's some timeline which is not there. I put these timelines on myself and it's not there, it's made up. But I put them there and I live urgently and I push when I pee. I tell people not to do this all the time, but even just today I realized, because I had to do this live, of course I had to. I get to do this live, but I had to go to the bathroom. I had to pee. And I was going to the bathroom and I was like, pushing to get it out, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is what I tell people not to do. And I've obviously overfilled my schedule because I've been kind of, I don't know, I just didn't manage my time very well right now. It's evening for me. I live in Germany, and so it's evening, and I just got too busy, and so I was pushing, and that just, it's like, okay, wow, lifestyle-wise, holistic-wise, I need to manage my time a little bit better so that I'm not feeling like going to the bathroom makes me need to push, because that's going to make urinary urgency and any incontinence issues and prolapse issues worse. So that's just one little mind-body connection there. I also need to, again, take that time to do my stress-relieving breathing breaks and that kind of thing. If you feel like you have the issue of prolapse where you have too much pressure and not enough support, you may need to become better friends with the word no and learn how to say no in certain things in your life. Obligations that you don't have to do that are putting pressure on you and you're feeling unsupported and you're feeling like, I do not have time for this and nobody else is helping me and I can't do it all. Well, then you need to take an evaluation of your life and look at the big picture and say, what can I cut out? I mean, it really is for your emotional health, your mental health, and also your physical pelvic floor health. It's all connected. So, you know, those little lifestyle tips, the body brushing, the movement breaks, the breathing breaks, the meditation breaks, the essential oils that you can just inhale or put in your diffuser and literally feel your brain just feel your body just cleanse from the inside out. Feel that energy and stuckness just start to move. Like, it's amazing the way it all works together. So I think that I have some comments here. So Moonsprat Mama says, this has been coming up lately, really interesting. I think you're referring to those connections there with the urgency and then the prolapse. Yeah. And Sylvie says, that's powerful. I've been so stressed and had so much urgency. Yeah. And girl, if you're still watching, Sylvie, just see if you put some of these, if you just have that awareness, if you just have that mental click in your head that goes, wow, I think there is this connection, let's just see, and get curious. I think you'll really notice what I've noticed, which is that when I take steps toward minimizing, again, my essential oils, my breathing techniques, my meditation, trying to manage my time, trying to tell myself and catch myself when I'm pushing to get my pee out, be like, Brianne, come on, like, chill out, stop pushing, you know, just catch yourself and laugh at yourself a little bit, it's okay, and just notice, and hey, report back to me for real. I would love to hear back from you to know if you sense that connection, and if you can minimize just by making a few minor lifestyle tweaks. We are not destined to go down this road of being, we don't have to become, this is not to offend anyone who has a grandmother with incontinence issues, but we don't need to be like our grandmas, you know? Like, we don't have to go down this road that many people think that you just have to go down as you get older. I'm getting older, we're all getting older. And it's normal to have these, it's typical to have these issues, but it's not normal. You don't have to go down there. A lot of times you can just catch a few things, you know, make some physical changes, do your exercises, do the things you need to do, but then also make the mental shifts that help you catch things early, and then you can address them at their root. And Adrienne says, my prolapse was worse when I had postpartum depression due to feeling inadequate. Oh my gosh, yes, totally. Too much pressure, not enough support, right? Absolutely. Yeah, huge. I want to just share really quickly, if you guys aren't familiar with Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life, I love this book. I love Louise Hay. May she rest in peace. And I just wanted to read this really quick to you. Incontinence, it has a whole list of issues that you can have, you know, physiological issues that you can experience or sicknesses you can experience, and the kind of emotional things that go along with it. So according to Louise Hay, incontinence is a letting go. It's a feeling of being out of control emotionally, a lack of self-nourishment, which really kind of goes along with what I was saying about, you know, the feelings of urgency. And she gives affirmations that you can use to go with each of the issues that you may be experiencing. So her affirmation is, as I nurture myself, those around me are nurtured. I am gentle and caring with myself. All is well. And doesn't that just make you like go, oh, like I just want to print that out. As I nurture myself, those around me are nurtured. I am gentle and caring with myself. All is well. I love that. And so I really recommend, if you're interested in anything we've been talking about today, you might want to check out this book. Also, if you want to learn more about the essential oils I've been talking about, you can message me. You can also go to bit.ly/fem with a capital F, EO, and that's capital E, capital O. And if you haven't already signed up at that link, it'll just put you on my little interest list for essential oils. And there's some goodies that you get when you sign up as well. So 2 thoughts there. Also, I had just a few little quotes that I wanted to read from this book, Inward by Young Pueblo. He is all over Instagram, so if you're an Instagrammer, I'm sure you know Young Pueblo. But I put a few bookmarks in here that really spoke to me. The first one is questions. Am I being honest with myself? Am I allowing myself the space to heal? Am I being compassionate and patient toward myself when I'm not meeting my goals as quickly as I had intended? And am I doing what I need to do to thrive? So something to think about. And the other one I wanted to share, just two today, is the healer you have been looking for is your own courage to know and love yourself completely. So it's a little bit sappy, but it's true. I mean, you have to have that. You have to have that that awareness of your own self-worth to actually take those pauses and take the moment to say, wow, what's really going on here, and how can I then best treat myself to slow down and honor myself and honor my body's needs. Even though it's coming out as a bladder issue, it might actually be something that's emotionally going on in my life. So I've been talking for quite a while now, so I will wrap it up, but I just want to make sure that some people had answered. I really tried to kind of make this broad and cover the questions that some of you all had written in and asked me. So I think that I covered everything, but I just want to briefly go through. I have some questions pulled up on my screen. One was a gal who asked if, she said that physical therapy, I'd love to know how physical therapy can reduce symptoms, especially if we still have the same grade of prolapse. I've been trying to help reduce mine for the past few months with no luck and minimal symptom reduction. And when I questioned this woman who wrote to me and asked her basically to dig a little deeper, it turned out that she'd been doing a lot of strengthening exercises with her physical therapist. And I said to her that, I certainly don't want to question your physical therapist, but, maybe to talk to your PT and make sure that your problem isn't in fact that you are hyperactive and overly tense in the pelvic floor, because kind of going along with what we've been talking about here, if we're already like stuck and stagnant and stressed and pressured and all of these things, and we're just doing kegels and kegels and kegels and kegels, that's not giving us the release that we need, both spiritually and emotionally and also physically in our body, to then allow the room and the space to strengthen successfully. First, before you strengthen, you've got to know how to relax. And so I just kind of prompted this gal to maybe just check in. And I wonder, just curious, maybe there's some issues with tension that need to be addressed before the strengthening that she said she has been mostly doing with her PT. So I wanted to share that with you all, who it might be helpful for. And then I had another one here that was, I just wanted to have some questions pertaining to pelvic pain. I've had pain for at least 6 to 7 years, not knowing what the pain was. I previously had fibroids, so I thought that was the cause, but they were removed 2 years ago and the pain remains. I know that stress plays a factor. The more stressed I am, the more intense the pain is. I've seen a pelvic PT and I have a TheraWand. Not going to PT as much, even though it was helping, but it was getting expensive. So I'm trying to manage the pain on my own. Will it ever go away? What can I do to help ease the pain? What exercises are safe to do? I had started going to the gym, but lifting heavy weights and ab exercises made the pain worse. I want to be able to work on my core and flatten my belly. Thank you in advance. So first of all, I have to say I'm so sorry that this question had to wait till the end, because I just had so much to say, but I'll try to remember to message you individually, the person who wrote the question in, and just share that it's at the end of the video, the end of the replay. But basically, first of all, yes, the more stressed you are, the more intense the pain becomes. You've identified that, and that's absolutely true. This is called, well, there's lots of reasons. It's a vicious cycle where the more stressed we become, the more tense and tight our muscles are, which makes more pain and tension, which makes more stress and anxiety, which makes more pain and tension, which makes more stress and anxiety. It's a vicious cycle. So also, your central nervous system gets upregulated. So everything, the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight nervous system, everything just goes up, up, up. And so we need to work on down-regulating the central nervous system and really activating that parasympathetic nervous system. We want to work on toning the vagus nerve. We want to work on really releasing the diaphragm and doing that deep, expansive breathing. Feel your ribs and your belly expand as you inhale, all the way around even to your back body. And then as you exhale, feel the pelvic floor gently lift and the abs draw in and all the air comes out. So the real expansive openness as you inhale and then the exhale, and then really make that slow and calm and deep. that can be very helpful. Just deep breathing can be really helpful when you want to downregulate your nervous system. So I would say to this person who wrote in, she says, will the pain ever go away? I want to manage this on my own. I want to go to the gym. First things first, before we can strengthen successfully, we have to be able to relax. So I would say gentle cardiovascular movement, like gentle walks outside in the fresh air and the sunshine, getting your vitamin D. That's going to be really beneficial for you, and it's going to help for total body conditioning. And I would personally save the heavy weightlifting and the ab exercises until you have healed a little bit and you're able to work more on down-regulating the nervous system and breathing and walking in nature and just doing things that are nourishing for your soul, smelling some beautiful essential oils, nourishing your body, giving yourself, the food that your body needs, some healing soups and, fruit and sweet things that are healthy, like fruits. Just nourish yourself inside and out, and then you can go back to the gym and work on the weights and work on the abs and work on all those things. But honestly, just calming yourself down can actually help reduce belly fat and make you less stressed, and that can literally help manage your weight. I know it sounds insane, but it's true. And so that is what I would say to this woman who wrote in, and I just wish you the best. And then the last one is that a gal wrote in saying that she she'd done the my lift series, and had worked with a pelvic floor physical therapist. She was barely a grade 1 of prolapse, everything reversed. She got so much better. Yay! But then she went back, and she said she'd worked so hard to improve things, and then last week, and she said until last week, most days I was practically symptom-free, but then things kind of got worse. And she said, I'm curious to know whether prolapse grades can fluctuate over a period of time. And so I wrote to her and questioned a little bit deeper, a little bit further, and I asked her if she's been under, well, first of all, this is what I said. Yes, it can fluctuate, because first of all, if you're constipated, that can put pressure on your pelvic organs. It can make your prolapse appear worse for that time period. If you've been pushing to go to the bathroom because you've been constipated, maybe you've been coughing because you've had allergies or you have a cold. Again, use your essential oils. Lemon, lavender, and peppermint are so great for seasonal relief. Just a little hint there. Anyway, coughing, that can lead to a temporary period of time where there's lots of pressure. Or if you were lifting heavy boxes or helping somebody move, or because the natural changes during your menstrual cycle, because your cervix does change position during your menstrual cycle. And so naturally, you are going to experience those fluctuations when you are recovering from prolapse, or when you're managing your prolapse. So that's a big piece of it. And also stress. If you're under a lot of stress and pressure, then again, just like we've been talking about before. So I asked her about a few of those things, and she got back to me and she said, thanks for replying. Yes, since the grade 1 diagnosis, I have kept up my Kegel routine along with the lifestyle changes and also the relaxation videos you have on YouTube. I love your new 3-minute one. I've also started back doing the home workouts that I did prior to diagnosis. I have been heavily modifying, using lighter weights, no jumping, and ensuring my breathing is correct on exertion. I felt no worsening of my symptoms after these workouts and felt 100 times better mentally. I spoke with my pelvic floor PT, and she was surprised at the variance in grade, but wondered if I was tired or stressed. I could answer yes to both of these questions with the funeral last week and not sleeping well. Would these also be contributing factors, do you think? Yes, absolutely. So, it should be really clear by now based on everything I've said, and I'm sorry this is so long, you guys. I hope it's been interesting for you. But if you're not sleeping well, your whole body doesn't function well when you're not sleeping. Everything in our bodies sort of breaks down when we haven't gotten enough sleep, and when we're stressed, it can lead to inflammation. It can lead to not breathing fully and expansively. You're breathing more up in your chest, just exchanging enough oxygen to survive. You're not really breathing, which is naturally massaging your internal organs and really kind of moving and exercising your pelvic floor and your deep abs. So yes, all of that can absolutely contribute to feelings of exacerbation of prolapse. So I think I answered all the questions, and that's wonderful. But I do think that there may be one more here. Dana says, and remember to breathe throughout the day. Sometimes I'm so stressed at the office that I suddenly realize I've been holding my breath. Absolutely. Me too. And that's one reason why, you guys, I filmed that recent video called my 3x3x3 method for meditation. I can't really take credit for it because I think I learned, I think I sort of heard meditate for 3 minutes 3 times a day from somebody else, but I can't remember who that was. But basically it's 3 steps. You sit up tall, you breathe, and then you just let your thoughts pass by. Just let them pass by, because you will have thoughts. And you do that for 3 minutes, and you do that 3 times a day. And of course, if you have time for longer than 3 minutes, that's awesome. But I just recommend that because I think it's an easy, simple way to kind of fit those breathing breaks into your day. Or even if you can just do 30-second little breathing breaks, or set a little alarm to go off or a notification on your phone or something to go off every hour, and just make sure you at least take a couple moments to breathe expansively. That can be so helpful, because I find the same thing, that I forget to breathe, and it's very common. And it definitely leads to a lot of pressure and anxiety and feelings of urgency, even when life really doesn't need to be so urgent. What are we all rushing for, right? Like literally, what are we all rushing for? I do not know what I'm rushing for. I really don't. So I just hope that this information has served you. And if you feel like you relate to anything I said about myself or any of these, the folks who wrote in, I hope that you'll take some of this to heart and just remember that it's all connected. Holistic pelvic health really is the answer. It's great to do Kegel exercises. I mean, if they're right for you, they're not right for everyone. I talk about Kegel exercises on my YouTube channel. I'm not opposed to them. I love them, in fact. But it's great to do core exercises. It's great to go to the gym. It's great to go on walks. It's great to eat a good, healthy diet. I say eat clean, move every day, shine brighter. The shine brighter is the holistic aspect. It's the everything else. It's the stress management. It's detoxifying your lifestyle. It's maybe using those natural plant medicines, the essential oils. It's all of the things. And I just hope that you can stay curious and continue to explore this a little bit more with your own body. And if I can help in any way regarding anything that I've said, particularly essential oils, because they are a part of my business, and I actually love helping people one-on-one when they get started with me. That's part of my service, is I give a wellness consultation to the person for free. It's part of their enrollment. So it's a really nice way to just incorporate that into your lifestyle if you've been thinking about it. So that is all for now. If you're watching on Facebook and Instagram, I love you guys and thank you so much for being here. Instagram is literally kicking me off because it's been so long. So I'm going to end now. Bye, Instagram. Thank you so much. Adrienne says you've been helpful, and Dana says, yeah, thank you guys. All right. Bye.